Welcome back to the channel. Please like, subscribe and share. Also leave your comment on what you think about this tutorial. Thank you so much. So on today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how I made this vest here. So let's get down to today's tutorial. So on my pattern paper here, I have a starting line here, which is going to be acting as my shoulder line. So on that line, I'm just going to mark 4 inches here. The 4 inches here is for the neck opening, and then I'll also just mark 4 inches down here. And then from there, I'm just going to create a form of a square using the dotted lines here, as you can see. And then from there, I'm just going to take my curve ruler and then create a curve for the neck opening, like so. So there's no, if you don't even have a curve ruler, you can also use freehand. So well, now I'm going to come here. I will take my shoulder to shoulder measurement. So my shoulder to shoulder measurement is 14 divided by 2. I get 7. So on that 7, I'm just going to subtract 1 inch. So I just mark 6 inches here. My shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2, it's 7. So I marked 6 inches. Basically, I subtracted 1 inch. And then from there, I will just come here and then I will just go down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. And then I'll just make a line like this. So from there, I'm just going to make sure that I get all the straight measurement, and then I'll just come here and mark where I want my top to stop, which is my waistline. And then I'll just make a straight line like this, and then from there I'm just going to join the points here together, straight line like this. So what I'm doing here, I'm just trying to make sure that I get this line straight like this. So once I'm done with that, I'm done with this pattern. So I'm just going to be cutting out. Well, after cutting this out, when I cut on my fabric, I'm just going to be adding half an inch for the sewing allowance, and then I'm going to be cutting this on fold, and I'll be cutting this, the back and the front together. So I have fabric pieces down there on fold, which one is for the back and then the other one is for the front. So I'm just going to place my pattern paper here like this. So after placing this pattern paper here like this, I'm just going to secure it properly like so. And then from there, I will take my marker and mark 1.5 inch. Well, this is me just marking 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance. So I'm just going to be doing this on the neckline, shoulder line, and here on the sides. So guys, here on the bottom part, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure 1.5 inches. So it wasn't really clear here on the video, but on the bottom part of this top, just mark 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance and the hemming of this top. So well, once I'm done with that, I'm just going to cut out. And there on the bottom, you can see the 1.5 inches that I measured on the bottom part of this top. So this is what you're going to have once you're done for both the pieces. So whatever that I'm going to be doing on one piece is the very same thing I'm also going to be doing to the other one. So here this time, I'm just going to come here right side facing. I will take my tape measure. I will take my bias tape and then I'm just going to put it on the neckline. So here on the sides, I'm just going to make a zigzag stitch. If you have an overlocking machine, you can just make an overlock stitch. And then from there, I'm just going to be folding here once, and then just make a stitch to secure everything together. Don't fold in twice, just fold in once. So for that part that I explained, you can also use a bias tape if you want to. But let's continue with the tutorial. This is what I have after inserting the bias. This is the bias here. I've inserted the bias tape on both my pieces. I've made the zigzag stitch, as you can see there on the edges. I've also even folded here once like this, which I'm also going to make a stitch just to secure everything together. And guys, remember what I'm doing on these pieces, I'm going to do the very same thing on both pieces. So I'm just going to make a stitch here just to secure the sides together, like you see what I have here on both pieces. I'm also just going to iron everything here together. So now I'm just going to be joining the shoulders together. So just make sure that everything is well aligned here, and then just to make a stitch on both shoulders to secure it together. And well, this is it. This is what I have. I've joined the shoulders together. Now the next part that I'm gonna be working on is this bottom part right here, where I'm going to insert the tying belt here on the sides. So well, for this part here, remember I have 1.5 inch for the allowance down here. I measured extra 1.5 inch. So what I will do here now is I have this fabric piece here which I'm going to be using as my tying band. So this it's 18 inches long and then 2 inches wide, like so. So I'm just going to make 4 of this. So 2 are just going to be for the front and then 2 again for the back. So now I'm just going to be folding this right side facing each other, where I'm also going to turn it inside out. So I'm just going to make a stitch and then turn this inside out. So like this, you fold and then you just make a stitch. I'll make 4 of them, and I'll show you what I have after doing the tying bands after stitching. So this is what I have. So I've also turned them inside out. So guys, remember the 1.5 inch that I'm talking about is here. So I'm just going to take this band here, place it here like this, and then I'll just fold in twice like so, and then I'll just take my pin and then just secure it right here, and then I'll also do the same for the other side. And then I'm just gonna be showing where to make a stitch and how to secure the tying bands together. So this is how you're going to make a stitch. You go up like this and then you turn, you just secure, and then you just go down. Then you can do the same on both sides.